President Bongbong Marcos is directing Congress to prioritize the passage of 4 proposed legislative measures. In a media statement on Tuesday, December 9, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro says Marcos wants to prioritize the anti-dynasty bill among other measures.
The President directed Congress to prioritize the following proposed legislative measures: Anti-Dynasty Bill, Independent People's Commission Act, Party List System Reform Act, Citizens Access and Disclosure of Expenditures for National Accountability or CADENA Act, to institutionalize transparency and accountability on public finance. In a LEDAC meeting this morning, the President also instructed both houses to take a closer look at the 4 bills and prioritize the passage as soon as possible.
According to Castro, the President led the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council's meeting on Tuesday morning. She says Senate President Tito Soto, House Speaker Boji D, House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos, and other congressional leaders were present in the meeting. Castro asked that the LEDAC also agreed on the timelines for the passage of the General Appropriations Bill and the submission of the enrolled bill for the President's signing into law. The Senate approves the proposed 6.793 trillion peso national budget for next year. During the plenary session on Tuesday, December 9, the upper chamber passed House Bill No. 4058, or the General Appropriations Act of 2026, with 17 votes in favor and 0 abstentions. No senator voted against the measure. In the Senate's version of the measure, the education sector's budget remains at 4.5% of the GDP and stands at 1.37 trillion pesos. This is 91.24 billion pesos higher than the amount in the House General Appropriations Bill. The 2026 budget of the Department of Public Works and Highways stands at 570.48 billion pesos, which is 53.99 billion pesos lower than in the House version. Now that the House of Representatives and the Senate have approved their respective versions of the 2026 national budget, a bicameral conference committee meeting is expected to be held from December 11 to December 13. The bicameral panel will be tasked with collaborating to develop a reconciled version of the national funding plan for next year. In an unprecedented move, the bicameral conference on the 2026 national budget will be live-streamed this year amid a corruption scandal. Typically held behind closed doors, the bicam hearings are often perceived as a venue for anomalous insertions. Once the bicam reconciles the 2 versions of the budget, the bill will be returned to both chambers of Congress for ratification. The ratified version will then be transmitted to President Bongbong Marcos for his signature. The Commission on Audit is flagging the Social Security system for procuring over 140,000 rolls of tissue paper worth around 13 million pesos through a verbal agreement with the supplier. Based on its 2024 audit report on the SSS released this month, COA says the quantity procured exceeded the agency's 2-month supply requirement. Because of this, state auditors note that about 116,000 rolls were left in the supplier's custody. According to COA, this situation indicates procurement activities that were undertaken without sufficient planning. It also shows procurement was made without consideration of existing warehouse capacity, thereby posing risk of loss, damage, or deterioration of the stored items. COA cites Section 28 of the General Appropriations Act, which requires that inventories of supplies, materials, and spare parts shall not exceed the agency's 2-month requirement. The Commission also points out that the arrangement with the supplier was based solely on a verbal agreement without any supporting documentation or formal memorandum of understanding. COA says this violates fiscal responsibility principles under Presidential Decree No. 1445. Under Presidential Decree No. 1445, COA says all government resources must be utilized only through proper authorization and in accordance with the law. State auditors then recommend that SSS strictly follow the 2-month inventory limit beginning the 2025 procurement cycle. They also urge the SSS to exercise prudence in using government resources by ensuring proper procurement planning and conducting a full inventory. The COA likewise recommends that SSS institutionalize revised procurement planning guidelines by the 4th quarter of 2025 to ensure future purchases align with actual storage capacity and operational needs.